Good afternoon. Welcome to Cafe's webinar, How to Support First Generation Graduate Students. My name's Eric, and I'm joined by my Cafe fellow and colleague, Jonathan Aragon, in the red sweatshirt.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
So we'll start in about 5 minutes. Let people log in if they can. All right. So Jonathan, this was me being creative.
The slides?
I am not a master's in fine art.
Yeah, that's great.
Kind of fun. Kind of fun. I wanted to use pink, but the pink lettering did not read as nice as the white.
Oh yeah, contrast is always a thing.
Just trying to be trendy with the pink.
You made this, is this in PowerPoint or P it's a PDF, right?
Yeah, this is a Canva. I used Canva to create it and then saved it. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I use
Uh,
it for a lot of like event flyers and stuff, but I've never used it for slides.
yeah. I'll show you kind of all as I begin.
Just a small suggestion. I think the pink would have worked if you would have outlined the words somehow.
Yeah, I tried to, yes, you're speaking my language. When I outlined it, the pink really worked. Um, So that's what I'll do next time, kind of highlight that.
Yeah, I know it's probably more of an involved process to do all that, but I think I haven't done it. I'm just saying that
It
it
would have
might.
looked really good. Yeah, like a card. Yeah.
Hi, Jen. Welcome.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, it's 12:01. I think we should start in about a minute. Um, yeah. I hope everyone got the newsletter that was sent out by Cafe that shows the summer and fall classes. Um, They are also hiring at Cafe for the two of you in attendance.
Oh
Lynn.
yeah. I want to. You guys
Yeah.
have been like my Avengers the last couple semesters. You guys have been my heroes, just to let you know that. And I just love the work you guys do and the energy you guys bring to inspire us to become better teachers and be in
For
the
sure.
classroom with students. So yeah, I'd love to apply. I'm really busy like everybody else, right? But if you could provide a link for that, that'd be great.
Yeah. Jonathan, can you grab that link from the email?
Yeah, it's a link for the administrator's position, not
Hi, Amber. Hi, yeah. Oh, Yasmin, also known as Amber, the Director of Student Engagement at CGU. We're pleasure to have you.
Hi,
Right.
Johnson. Hi, Eric.
Hey everybody. We were just telling our two guests about the job opening at Cafe. So they are looking for a graduate student with experience in higher ed as a coordinator.
I
It's
have a
20 hours a week, um, and it does pay $20 an hour. It's on Handshake. It was sent out in our newsletter. But because we have some wonderful attendees, spread the word to any graduate student who's looking for employment.
So it's more of a administrative position.
Yeah, it's more of an administrative position.
Oh, okay.
So you would work with Shelby and Gloria, the director and associate director, and support the programming around events, online events, um, projects, working with the registrar around like certifications, different certificates.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and anything else, Jonathan? Yeah.
We'll also be having, we haven't announced it yet, but we'll have some, another teaching position open up in the fall too.
Yes.
Thank you for the information. I have a quick question here.
Yes.
Since I will graduate in May, so this job is for summer. So is that available if I apply for the job?
Good question. It is a full-time job, so it's for someone who maybe could be here for 2 or 3 years. So I'm not sure if you're planning to stay locally or
Mm, maybe not, but
maybe
yeah,
not.
I reviewed the job description. It was stated that it's for the current graduate student. But
Mhm.
since I will be graduating this May, I'm not sure if I'm still eligible to apply for this position.
Yeah, no, good question. You would be eligible, but it would kind of end when you would end. So, um, but we would love for you to recommend any colleagues or friends that you think are still going to have more time in their academic journey.
Cool.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is kind of a short notice because it opened mid-semester. So really good questions. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's get going. Um, let me see here, guys. One of my challenges is my computer here. Okay, there we go. Okay, wonderful. How to support first generation graduate students. Welcome to our webinar hosted by myself, Eric, and my fellow Cafe CGU fellow, Jonathan Aragon in the red sweatshirt. Welcome to everyone. This is going to be very conversational. So what I mean by that is as I'm presenting, if there are things that come up or examples, please raise your hand and feel like you can also participate, okay? Fantastic. So what are we going to learn today? What are we going to talk today? Today, we're going to set a sail on a journey of empowerment and support for first generation graduate students. The reason I'm framing that discussion in that way is because I look at first generation students as those with assets, okay? Not those with deficits, okay? So this is about supporting your fellow graduate scholars in the classroom and out of the classroom, okay? And how are we going to do this today? So we're going to do this with a presentation and a discussion. So Jonathan, this is kind of why I used Canva to try to test out kind of the way it would organize the presentation. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to really define what are first generation students. We hear that often on the radio, on television, and popular culture. But unless we actually are a first generation student, or are close to a first generation student, we really don't have an idea of what that is, okay? So first generation graduate students are those who are pursuing degrees and are the first ones, the first people in their immediate families to do so. So they're lacking a familial background of graduate level education, okay? Let's see, we have a little chat here. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Um, okay. And so, for example, for a lot of us marginalized scholars, being in any learning environment where we are new can be a really big challenge because we bring assets to the classroom already. For example, a lot of us bring many literacies, right? A lot of us are multilingual, okay? However, we're stepping into a legacy system, an institution and structure, right? That is new to us, right? We're new to sitting in these classrooms. We're new to reading graduate school syllabuses. We're not sure of the resources on campus. We can feel overwhelmed with everything that we've paid for. Okay. These make our journeys unique as we step into a graduate school experience. Okay. So what is the reality like? You know, what are some facts? Instead of facts, I like to use the word reality, right? What is it like for myself and other friends who are first generation graduate scholars? Okay. One big reality and fact is that we're underrepresented in higher education. Okay. So another way to look at that is that we're minoritized scholars. Okay. Another reality of ours is that we're persistent. Okay. We work hard. We earned our way in to graduate school and we want to achieve. We want to matriculate and we want to graduate. Okay. Another very important fact and reality of first generation graduate scholars is they're very diverse. Okay. They're diverse culturally, they're diverse socially, diverse classes, diverse background experiences. Okay. This diversity is really important in understanding your students in the classroom and as you engage them on a campus, right? How do people with diverse backgrounds find that footing in the classroom? Okay. When you see they have different realities that they're also facing. Okay. The most important reality and fact of first generation, one of the challenges they face is the financial obligations and challenges and literacies for us. Okay. What does that mean? For example, for a lot of us, we have to learn how to really read our financial aid. We have to learn what FAFSA documents are. Okay. We have to manage our own incomes. A lot of us work 2 or 3 jobs. We are in perhaps apartments or living situations that aren't the most ideal for our learning. And so we engage our campus. How do we engage our campus? We go to the libraries, we find those study places for ourselves. Because as the facts say, we persist. Okay? We are like those wild flowers, right? All we need is sun and water, and we know how to find that, okay? A lot of the data and the reality facts from this are from this journal article, A Call for Career Educators to Recommit to Serving First Generation and Immigrant College Students. Okay, it was published in 2020. Okay. So this is some of the realities of what it's like for us to step on a campus like CGU. Okay. So what are ways that we can help one another? What are ways as a graduate scholar in the classroom, how can I help my fellow friend or colleague? As an instructor or TA, how may I ensure that that student is succeeding and learning and feeling comfortable, like they belong? Okay. A lot of that we call anchoring mentorship. Okay. A lot of us have an idea of what a mentor is, right? Right? We went to high school, we had this idea, oh, it's someone with a little more experience. It's someone with a career. It's someone who has time for us, right? But anchoring mentorship is really tailored to first generation graduate scholars because it's very pointed, okay? For example, and I'm going to take my time because there's 5 or 6 items underlined here, okay? Number 1, peer mentoring, okay? making sure that your graduate first generation people have access to peers like themselves, okay? Whether that's through student life, whether that's through in-class learning or on off campus, ensuring that you're helping your student find community, okay? At CGU, we have lots of those opportunities through the Office of Student Engagement and the Office of Student Life, okay, where you have dedicated staff, dedicated graduate students who work together to offer programming, right? To offer a safe space, okay? To ensure that those first-gen students are seen and visible, okay? So online and offline programming, okay? Things like the Ignite program, right? Things that are tailored to first-generation students of color, for example, okay? Or programs that are tailored to the international graduate students, okay? Who are also first generation, okay? So these arrows are very pointed, okay? Number two, faculty mentoring. Faculty mentoring, okay? For a lot of us graduate students, we didn't have the opportunity, let's say, to be a graduate student for a professor, okay? But there's other ways that you can be mentored by a faculty, okay? And that takes learning and growing. An example of faculty mentoring, for example, is learning to apply to a grant with a faculty member and asking for a letter of recommendation, okay? There's many ways that you can feel supported with a faculty member, okay? There are ways on campus to engage them via virtual events or conferences or symposiums, okay? There's also ways to engage your school, for example, for example, the School of Education or the School of Arts and Humanities, right? There are ways to engage faculty. For example, there are open door policies with every dean at the schools. Deans are also faculty. Ensuring that all your students feel comfortable doing that, right? Knowing that they're aware of the dean, of their academic faculty advisor, okay? These are all things that fall in line with mentoring, okay? And faculty mentoring, okay? For a lot of us, our faculty mentor may not be our academic advisor, okay? And that's okay, okay? Speaking to first-gen students about that choice of theirs, right? That this is their journey, okay? That they can shop as well and connect with an advisor that really fits with their scholarship and research, okay? And that is mentoring, okay? Shepherding, showing someone how to have a relationship with their academic advisor, okay? With their faculty in their department, okay? Helping students as they get to the quals phase, right? As they're forming their big mountain, right? Checking in on students, okay? Those are just ways that I at CGU have been supported by my faculty in the cultural studies program, okay? Those are also ways that we can think outside of the box to help our friends in class or on campus, okay? Another big one is developmental workshops, ways that first-gen students can not only professionally develop skills for their career, but also for their academics, okay? And that takes a balance, okay? That takes a reality check, okay? That takes a plan. An example of that plan, for example, is if you know a graduate first generation scholar is graduating, in May, let's say, ensuring that they're working with the Career and Development Office a year out, at least a year out, okay? Being realistic, okay? Being realistic with also the resources that CGU has, okay? And that we are in a very consolidated market in higher ed that's going to take a lot longer to find a job, right? Even with a master's or a doctorate, okay? And that is what we call developmental. You're developing their thought of themselves, their understanding of their scholarship, what this degree means, and how they can get a job in the United States, okay? Attending such workshops, okay? For example, I'm a TA. We have lots of students who are interested in jobs in community colleges, right? So helping them a little further than here's the link of the website, right? Trying to make connections for them with other scholars, okay? Another one is cultural and social support, okay? That can come in many, many ways. It can come faith-based. It can be, a club like Hikeaholics Club. It can be an affinity online group, right? So ensuring that your students are aware of the many communities available to them. For example, if you have students who are interested in, let's say, teaching in San Diego, in Tijuana, right? Doing a little more work for them, okay? Ensuring that they have much more access, okay, to those resources, right? So as an educator going, oh, I have a friend that works at San Diego State, right? They're doing a tour of 2 schools in Tijuana, okay? You're bilingual. Let's see if we can get you on board that tour bus, okay? Trying to work across different graduate programs, okay? So one of the biggest reflections is access to such resources, okay? And that's why we must think creatively when we anchor mentorship for this demographic, okay? Because we spoke of the high cost of graduate school and that responsibility. We don't want to offer opportunities that are a financial burden to them, okay? We want to make things easier for them. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, building bridges, creating community. So building bridges of connection with the first generation graduate community is a very important part of their journey, their learning, and their belonging on campus. For example, at CGU, nearly a quarter of the students are international students, right? So when you're on campus, you have the beauty of being in a global classroom, right? But that takes learning, that takes mentorship, that takes care, okay? We cannot assume that first generation students of any demographic understand what graduate school is. We have to give them grace, but we also have to build on what they're bringing into the classroom, okay? So for example, at Cafe, a lot of what we do in our college teaching certificates is relearn a lot of things that we've learned in the legacy systems around equity and inclusion and belonging, okay? So a lot of the times we're helping, for example, other undergraduate institutions or professors update their syllabi, right? Update their Canvas, right? Expand on the learning goals, expand on the literacies, because they want their students to have a better learning experience. And as faculty and educators, they want to have a more enriching experience, okay? Financial navigation. Don't get stressed out. There's no bill. But I think one of my biggest reflections when I started my doctoral program was I felt really ignorant around my financial literacy, around borrowing money, okay, around FAFSA documents. And I think that you have to really put yourself into that student's mind as they're stepping into the classroom, okay? So the student is stepping into the classroom ready to learn, right? But they're also thinking a lot about the fact that they have a hold on their account and they're not sure why. And they're not sure why. Okay. And it says financial hold. Okay. A lot of us don't understand what it means to, let's say, drop a course, add a course. Okay. A lot of us have a hard time managing that relationship with our academic advisor. Okay. So being aware that when your student is in the classroom, that there's also things that they're trying to get done as well, right? They want to ensure that their academic hold's done. They have a financial aid hold. They have to pay for a parking pass. Okay, that there's probably 10 or 15 tasks, okay, that's in the back of their mind as they're in the classroom. Okay. They're communicating with the registrar. They're trying to understand if their certificate comes this summer or when it comes. Okay. Communication can be really difficult. Okay. So these are just things that you can kind of take and put in your back pocket as you engage your dashboard, for example, your PeopleSoft, right? And your Workday. Just remember that for a lot of us, we really had to learn all that and that we're still learning. And that we do want to learn those dashboards. But for a lot of us, we don't have that capacity. We don't have that time. Okay. Academic compass, skill development. This is really fun. For graduate students, they often have this like a plan. Like I'm here to study, an MFA. Oh, good. Jonathan, what's going on?
Um, well, it seemed I could be wrong, and I often am, but it sounds like you're referencing certain slides, and I just want to let you know that we're still just seeing the introductory slide.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I sent you a private chat, but
Got
easy talking.
it,
So
guys. Are you seeing it now?
no, you might have to stop share and reshare again.
Oh. Excuse me, everybody. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah,
So now do you see?
yeah, it's like a Zoom thing. Sometimes you just gotta
Oh,
stop share and reshare again every time
okay.
you change your screen.
Thank you, Jonathan. Were there any other questions in the chat, or was that all? Is that it? Let's see the chat. Now it works. How to get access? Mohammed has a good question. Mohammed, do you want to expand on your question? You mean how to get access?
Hello everyone, very nice seeing you today. Sorry about the cam, my internet's not that good. Um, so I'm glad to be here today. Yeah, and thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I got a question where he was talking about like the resources is to help support your graduate students. I'm from San Diego, and I would love to get access like to those resources. You don't mind like helping me with it or give me more example, more information about it. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we can do, I know, for example, that a lot of the programs do dual programs with San Diego State.
Mhm.
And I know, for example, that the director of our department, Gloria, right, Jonathan, works with a couple people at San Diego State, Mohammed. So I can start an email for
Please,
you. Is that cool?
please do. Thank you.
Um, because I know that there's definitely kind of like a loop that's happening with San Diego and CGU. And I'm sure there's ways that we can add you to that loop. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's a really great example. I think a lot of us think all CGU students live here, right? And so always checking in with your students so that you can help them on the ground. Okay. Okay. Great question, Mohammed. Okay. So can you see it now, Jonathan, or no? Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it changes.
Okay. Good. It's moving. It's moving. Okay. All right. So after the navigation of the financial discussion around PeopleSoft Workday, kind of helping your students navigate even their inbox, helping them create a calendar. We get into the academic compass and skill development. Okay. So how do you do this? You know, um, a lot of this comes from the coursework, right? Equipping yourself with tools for success through workshops and support services. So a lot of this comes from taking advantage of the coursework, okay? Making sure that your students are aware of ways they can maximize that part of their journey, whether it is auditing classes, okay? Whether it's taking on a different type of master's program, whether it's doing a certificate program, okay? Really sitting with that student and helping create a plan of development for them. Looking at the whole year, the whole year. Are they going to work during the summer? Where are they going to work? Are they going to take classes? Where are they going to take classes? Okay. Helping them fill in those blanks. For a lot of us, we just see moving pieces. But when we meet with faculty and staff with knowledge of our experiences as first generation grad scholars, we feel more connected. Okay. They can help us with those many, many moving pieces. Okay. They can help slow down the pieces. They can help us understand what's going on. Okay. And that takes a lot of development. Okay. It takes a lot of kind of relearning things that a lot of us brought in from our undergraduate or some of our master's programs. Okay. You also have to allow that student, like a compass, to find themselves. Okay. To find themselves. And that takes time. And that takes time. That development also will ensure that you see your students change and that change is okay. Okay, that constant evolving can feel really uncomfortable as you're learning, right? But letting them know that that is part of the development, that's part of the skill that they're developing, right? For example, whenever I do webinars, I get nervous, right? And then I get kind of exhausted 5 minutes before it starts, right? And then I sit back and I always know that I enjoy what I'm doing. right? And that enjoyment will shine through, okay? That took development. That took development in my graduate school journey, okay? That took, for example, learning how to instruct in class, okay? How to work with others, how to work with maybe people that I didn't think I could work well with, okay? It took learning how to listen, okay? It took sitting with the uncomfortable, right? That was part of my development, okay? And I don't think we speak enough about those really small pieces in a graduate student's career, okay? Those little pieces build a mountain, okay? But we have to allow that student to build those chips on their own, okay? Cool. All right. And this is a really important one, cultivating inclusive seas, okay? Like the ocean, okay? Where all ships sail freely, or let's say all animals swim freely. Try to foster an environment of diversity, equity, and belonging for all students, okay? Belonging, belonging, okay? That's the word that I want to really speak about on this slide, okay? So belonging as a first gen person in graduate school, as we've talked about, we have many challenges, but we bring many, many assets, okay? Part of what we're trying to do is belong with our unique background, okay? So we want to be ourselves, but we want to fit in. We want to be ourselves, but we want to fit in, okay? So that repetition seems like it could be exhausting, right? And that is part of what we need to talk about, is how to foster that so it's not as exhausting for first gen students, right? Um, a lot of us have expectations of students when they come into the classroom, right? As teachers, assistants, or instructors. And when we think of first generation students, as we've discussed, we have to really foster a classroom of belonging, okay? A canvas of belonging. What's an example of that? Very clear canvas, very clear modules, clear assignments, okay? Rubrics that don't penalize graduate students, non-punitive grading rubrics, okay? Coming up with SLOs and assignments that are inclusive, that offer many literacies and modalities so that we can learn from our students, okay? Letting them succeed, okay? At Cafe, that's one of the biggest challenges that we do in the college teaching certificate, is we bring everyone's knowledge and excitement about teaching and instructing, and we try to make it more of a place where everybody can belong, okay? And that takes a lot of design thinking. It takes working across disciplines. It's challenging. It's uncomfortable, okay? But it's very worthwhile because, and I've spoken to this with my students, in my opinion, teaching is sacred. It's a sacred relationship between someone who is a learner and someone who wants to instruct, okay? And for first gen students, it's a very sacred space because it's something that we don't know a lot about. We're stepping into this huge system, right? And we want to belong. Okay. So as you reflect on your assignments, your work, remember how much knowledge you have about first generation students. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, to check in on them. Okay. Because as you all know, that is kind of the future of education, is really including all students. Okay. Making sure that our canvases are designed, our syllabuses are designed for all students to belong, because all students bring knowledge to the classroom of some kind. Okay. And as their friends, as their colleagues, and as their instructors and fellow learners, it's up to us to make that learning visible for them. Okay. All right. Da, da, da. Okay. So I think we can kind of acknowledge that, we're a little more committed now after looking at some of the realities and some snapshots for first generation grad students that we together in this webinar and on campus and online, we can chart a course for success, right? Celebrating the milestones of each of these students along the way. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So thank you so much, everybody. I know we ended early, but I did want to open it up to any kind of questions or discussions from any of our guests about their experiences on campus or anything that they would like to share.
Thank you, Eric. I'll go first.
Hi, Nazia.
And yeah, it was so nice to hear about like first gen, because right now, being in the same boat, I see we experiencing it ourselves, and then trying to identify it across, like where I work, it's a diversity office. So we tried to identify first gen across 5 Cs. So they had same common issues, and everybody was struggling with, like, when we came. I always have this example and myself to present. When you try to have the work-life balance and you don't get the good mentor, or maybe the mentors are so distinct that they are unable to hold on to, like you can't catch them. Especially at CGU, we are very limited. We are small school, we are private, everybody is overworked. So as much as I am in not in that inclusive environment, I can't get back to my mentors. And the peers are also struggling. So that's like what has been the past experience for the past like first year. And then, with all that, the other issues are coming in, like, managing stress or academics or finding job and health and all those things. So what final takeaway do you like, what do you suggest to get yourself out of that situation? I mean, just a quick hint or tip
Yeah,
that, it might have worked for you.
yeah, that's a really good question. What I did, Nazia, is, and this is a really important discussion for international
Mhm.
students, okay? Um,
Right.
for example, I have someone, Nazia, who helps advocate for me, okay?
Okay.
And I think that's a really important discussion. So
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean? So, for example, Nazia, my spouse helps advocate for me. So those questions, when I speak to them, they know how to process that for me. But what I think we're really, Nazi, I'm really glad you're bringing this up because I think there's an opportunity here
Mm-hmm.
for ways that we can advocate for other international students like yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wouldn't need to be a mentor program, but maybe we could talk to Heather about, or any of the, incredible Office of Student Engagement people about maybe creating advocate roles,
Okay.
right? Ways where, for example, Nazia, I got really stuck with my qual and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to email the professor. I feel like I'm being annoying. Like
Mhm.
I've already emailed them a couple times, right? Yasmin, right, Amber? I don't know, And my advocate said, oh, remember, you just keep, open up your email. This is what you're going to say in a really nice way. Okay. But what Nazia is pointing to is that for a lot of us, we get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We lose that agility. We become like a stick. Okay. And I do think this is a really important conversation because advocacy, that's what an advocate does, right? They go, oh, Eric, let's support you doing this. Let's support you doing this. You can do this. So what is this advocate doing, Nazia? They're advocating kind of for my mental health and awareness, right? And I do think that I'm really glad you shared that because, that's definitely a gap that we can learn to fill. But Nazia is really pointing to a gap for her as an international scholar. Okay. Um, and I'm really opening that up to anyone else, Amber, anyone with experience. This is a really great opportunity, Nazia. Thank you for sharing that. Um, does Juan Carlos want to jump in or anyone?
Yeah, just somewhat along the lines of that, as far as being a graduate student and an instructor as well too, is I teach undergrad classes, and I always let my students know that this is their space. And that doesn't happen all the time with instructors. I know I probably needed to hear that a lot more when I first went to college, and sort of to let them know that there's going to be a lot of questions that you don't know how to form yet. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and you got to kind of be like comfortable with like knowing that. And sort of like there's a lot of kind of anxiety, alienation, and isolation that goes along with this process if you're the first one in your family to go through it, and it's a different culture altogether. Even if you're familiar with the language, it's kind of like it's not a language commonly spoken, and it takes years to really like get used to, or sort of like acculturate yourself to the university or the college setting. And especially like in grad school is the stakes are higher, right? So getting a C in grad school, it's kind of like getting an F, you know. So it's like that more, it's more of a challenge, right? Like it should be as well too. And hopefully you've chosen something that you're really passionate about, because you're going to be spending hours with it, you know. I think what's made a difference for me at CGU is going to the Chicano Latino Student Affairs office. They have a lab there, being able to go to events there, and sort of like partake in some of those events as well too. Having like put on some of those events has like helped my scholarship identity. And also there's this game called Carom, which is an Indian game, and I had a friend that was Indian. He taught me how to play it, and I've brought it before to CGU, and I played it with my Indian friends and other friends from like Nepal, and that's kind of created like I don't do it as much anymore because I'm not in the coursework, but that created like a place where I could like relieve stress and kind of bond with like my colleagues. So that particular activity, and also like I've been working at the Center for Writing and Rhetoric last couple semesters, and that's another way to like ground myself in at CGU, but be able to contribute and sort of like um, interact with my peers and other people that are early phases of their graduate studies and kind of make them feel welcome as well too. So um, I guess I've seen what works, what I could build into my life that could help me build community and sort of like help people through this it's a tough process. We got to kind of like, we're always talking about like uh all these solutions and things like that, and it's just like people need to hear that, right? All these like resources as well too, and they kind of have to take that step, but it is a tough thing to get through, and you after you accept that, then you can kind of, okay, so what is it that I could like work into my life that could help like ease this, right? And yeah, I could like keep on going, but that's kind of how I've like navigated so far, like my graduate journey at CGU and sort of being a professor as well.
Yeah. Juan Carlos, thank you so much for mentioning CLSA. I want everyone to open the chat, please. And I'm going to ask for each of us to dump in what affinity group, club, office, what is your go-to? What is your go-to? So mine is CLSA, the Chicano Latino Student Affairs Association, as well as SLDL, the Office of Student Life and Diversity. So let's all put where we go as learners. Do we go to our schools, to our departments? I'm very interested in learning. Okay, so the Writing Center, CLSA, Advanced GIS Labs, the Chaplain's Office. Yes, SLDL. The Hive, Cafe. Okay, cool. So this is really neat. So we're seeing a lot of overlap, and we're also seeing some things that are new to me. Okay. We're definitely seeing some new things. So Jonathan, I was wondering, talk to us about the Hive, please. I have to say,
Well,
I don't
it's
know
not
a lot about
really
the
a
Hive.
yeah, it's not really a CGU thing. It's a all Claremont colleges thing. But, it might be specific for me, right? But because they do a lot of artistic stuff and workshops that you normally wouldn't get in the traditional academic curriculum, it's a real outlet. And personally, I think art is the most humanizing space that you can be in because you don't have to do the extra steps and the effort to build in diversity and inclusion and acceptance and uniqueness because art inherently already has all that built in, right? So it's a very equal playing field and it's easy to feel like you belong. So for me, I think that art is very cathartic and it's a nice complement to the more rigorous intellectual work that we do at a high intensity research institution like CGU, right? Because here we're very much about academic rigor and doing research, and it's easy to forget that there are other values and other literacies that are valued in the world. It's okay to be a
Absolutely.
person, You don't have to be a robot all the time.
Absolutely. So I did want to just share that with all the other students. I have yet to go into the Hive, so I'm going to challenge myself this semester. Um,
They
so
actually
yeah.
have, if I can pose, they have an event today actually about creative publishing. So if you're interested in creating, if you are creative yourself, and you want to have more interest in publishing, so they share a lot of workshops to Jonathan's point that are great creative outlets, but I also think they build great skill sets for graduate students as well. They have like a creative tools series for Notion to utilize that application to kind of help you manage your time and project manage all of your assignments, anything you have to do, depending on where you're at in your graduate journey or even your professional space. So don't think that it's just a creative outlet. I feel like they have a really unique space where you can, pursue the arts while also learning the skill sets that graduate students need to be, successful. So just wanted to plug that in there. I appreciate you saying that, Jonathan.
That's really, really important because I think, like both of you acknowledged, we do need to have a little fun and a little lightness, and creativity and project management are such a part of graduate student. No, but I don't want to manage my time. I know, I know.
Well, I think there's another important point to that too, which is, you're talking about first generation students and finding that community. So, first generation students don't always have like family that can necessarily understand the journey that they're going through. And the fact that CGU is mostly a commuter school, we have international students that live on campus, and then we have a whole lot of people who are US residents that just are commuting to campus and not involved in much in that way. And a big part of what makes the journey more tolerable is that you have people there that are part of the journey with you. So even though, like my family, I'm a first generation student, right? So, my family's sentiments are usually along the lines of, when are you going to get a real job? Like, well, teaching and doing research is a job. Oh, okay. But their thought of a job is like, you need to be swinging a hammer or breaking a concrete and working 9 to 5 for it for it to be a job, right? So for first generation students, I think it's important that you're around people that can understand the journey that you're on and be that place of support for you. So because we don't really have that community at CGU, I think places like the Hive, you know, where you can get together and meet other people and have that community is good. Also, the Course Redesign Institute, just to plug it, that we're doing in the summer, you can
Yes.
go be a part of that and spend a whole week with 5C faculty and other CGU scholars and then build those bonds, right? Because even though we don't have a lot of residents here at CGU, we do have some, right? A lot of them live at KGI,
Mhm.
but not, as much as you would run to in class every day, especially if you're doing it on Zoom. So I think whenever stuff like that pops up, it's important to be involved because then we can bridge those gaps with those who are have more of a residence community at the 5Cs, right? And for us as graduate students, honestly, like I've made friends with the undergrads teaching classes like at the Hive, but most of us as graduate scholars, the friends we're going to make are actually going to be other faculty people at the 5Cs. And
Right,
they're going to be around.
right. Very good. Very important. We all have homework. We're all going to the Hive. Um, so yeah,
Let me plug that actually. Let me
yeah,
put in
please put that in the chat.
okay, look, check it out. Listen, look. Putting in
And thank
chat.
you, Amber, for reminding us of that event today. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
I'm gonna be
course.
there.
Oh,
Jonathan
great.
will be there. Is it also virtual, Jonathan, or is it just in person, the Hive?
I don't know. I only go to in-person stuff because why would I want to be on the computer more?
You're not a bot.
I'm not a robot, man.
You're not programmed like me.
So,
Well, thanks for the
so I
thank you.
put the tandem websites in
Mhm.
chat so that anyone that's interested, if you're a CGU scholar, we'll give you $500 to go make friends for a week. So, how can you lose, right?
Yeah.
Here's other links and stuff you might like.
And to use, Amber's language, this is a place where you will develop skills, project management skills, and it looks kind of good on your resume and CV. Just saying. Just saying. And like Jonathan said, the biggest takeaway is the face-to-face. You're going to meet actual faculty.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get teaching opportunities for folks over at CGU. And, for a long time, it's just sort of been the reality that if you want the teaching experience, because we're graduate only, you have to go get adjunct job off campus and do the commuter thing. So we're trying to build that bridge to where we create teaching opportunities at the 5Cs, which have always existed, but kind of on the hush, like invitation only. So this way, what's happening is you go and you build this syllabus for the upcoming semester with the faculty person. And then, a lot of times they just invite you to come and do lectures, and then that results in continuing relationships.
Looks like you're on mute, Eric. But I do want to say something on that point about what Jonathan just said, that CGU has such a unique positionality within the Claremont colleges that, it seems like as a first generation scholar, the number one thing that we need is mentorship, right? And we don't want you to feel that you can only find that here through your professors or your advisors. You can definitely utilize the full network of the Claremont colleges. And one way to do that is to start with this tandem project that Jonathan shared, but to kind of meet those people, mix and mingle, and see who might align with your research. But you can, Google up for the Claremont colleges the research that you're doing at any time and see which professors might be applicable to you, reach out to them and see if there's any interest there. So just feel like the mentorship possibilities are open and available to you. I just want to plug that in because we're uniquely positioned here.
Mhm. Very well framed and so accurate. And finally, I just put in I know we get lots of emails. These are the summer programs, TNDY, Cafe 530, and I will be a TA for TND 430 this summer. But look for Jonathan and I on campus, online. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and can you introduce me again? So Amber, you work in student engagement, right?
Amber's the director of OSE, and Yasmin is a remind me, Yasmin, your title.
I'm a student support specialist.
Student. See, she supports me. No, I'm just kidding.
Student support specialist.
She holds me up. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, pleasure to meet you. It was good to
Yeah, good to meet you all. Thank you so much for this workshop. I think it's really helpful. Yasmin and I wanted to join as first generation scholars as well to see what support we can provide and just lean into our own experiences as well. So this is really beneficial and helpful. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Let's have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine.
Bye.